Hey everyone, and welcome to 121 Movie News. I am Peter, that is Connor, and theoretically every week we get together and we talk about movie announcements such as casting details, director acquisitions, I don't know, whatever. I feel like when I do the TV news, I have a very strict set of things that I can say that are typically in TV news. Movies are a lot more loosey-goosey. There's a lot more different little things you could be talking about movies, but we do talk about the weekend's box office. We make some guesses for the next weekend. We look at horror movie news, we look at comic book movie news, all that kind of stuff, and we chat and we generally have a
Before we
shambles.
get into any of that, though, I do want to point out what I'm wearing is not actually the same color as this new purple overlay. It kind of looks that way on the screen. I'm blaming some dodgy lighting. It does on my screen anyway.
It doesn't on your screen. Similar. It looks more red on my screen. I think if anything, you've just told the audience who are watching the video you're colorblind. Honestly.
No. Just on my screen and the lighting that I'm in, it looks close.
Okay.
I'm not saying closer than I'd like, given the garish nature of the color.
To me, it looks closer to your hair than it does the overlay.
Maybe I'm just so adjusted to seeing my hair all the time that I just, reds are toned differently now.
So it's been a few weeks since we had an episode. Reason for that is because Connor was on vacation, and we had originally intended to squeeze one in last weekend, because we would have made guesses for this weekend's box office, this one that we just hit, but because we did think we were going to have an episode last week. We did not, however, and then the previous week we didn't have one because Connor was on vacation. We were doing our end of the year awards, that kind of stuff as well instead. So it has been 2 full weeks off. So it's been 3 weeks since the last episode, which means I have 3 weekends of box office to go through. Which I would skip the first 2, but we made guesses, so we have to at least look at what we guessed for those 2 weeks.
Just tell us, what did we guess? Where did it place? How much? Let's do an abridged version.
We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. So the weekend of the 22nd to the 24th of February. Number 1 was a new entry of How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. You guessed 40 million. I guessed 42 million.
I suspect you may have won that one, but I don't actually know.
The amount was 55.
Yeah.
I will take the victory. Number 2 was Elite Battle Angel with 12.3 million. Number 3 was Lego Movie 2 with 9.6 million.
Come on.
4 was Fighting With My Family at 7.8 million. And 5 is Isn't It Romantic with 7.1 million. I'll do top 5. Quit your whinging.
Alright.
I'll do. The following week, March 1st to the 3rd, we made guesses for 2 movies. We made guesses for Amadea's, what was that full movie called? Amedea Family Funeral. The conclusion in the cinematic saga of
this is the one I only found out about that day. Okay.
And then Greta we also guessed for. Which was the kind of the thriller with Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yes.
So, number 1 was How to Train Your Dragon with 30 million. Which is actually a pretty good second week for that, actually.
It is. And I don't think we guessed anywhere near that for either of the 2 movies. No. So, we're all right.
Number 2 was a Medea Family Funeral.
With?
Well, hold on. You guessed 6 million.
Okay, so I'm out.
I guessed 10 million. I mean, it made a big drop after the first one. You don't know.
It didn't drop that much, though, did it?
Actually, it made 27 million.
I remember saying when I made that guess, what the hell do I know? I'd never heard of the franchise before 2 minutes ago.
I suppose on the one hand, given that you think, well, maybe it doesn't make that much money, but on the other hand, we're on like movie number 11, so clearly they've been successful enough that they keep churning them out. So
they could be extremely low budget.
Oh yeah, it's not like it's made $200 million. I'm just 27 is a lot healthier than what we were thinking. Clearly, I'll take the point though. Number 3 was Elite Battle Angel with 7.2 million. Number 4 was Lego Movie 2 with 6.6. 5 was Fighting With My Family at 4.6. 6 was Green Book with 4.5. 7 was Isn't It Romantic with 4.5. 8 was Greta,
which we guessed.
You guessed 8.5.
So I'm out.
I guess 7.
Oh, you were doing that shitty thing of going like just above or below me, weren't you?
It was 4.4 million, so I won.
No, barely.
I got both points. I've had that's all 3 that were guessed for these 2 weeks. I got points for all of them.
Yeah, but you did it. I mean, all 3 were done in a really shitty fashion of guesses.
Strategic
Shitty.
fashion.
No, shitty. You
Fashion.
take the fun out of it.
Strategic fashion. Strategic fashion. All right, so we can look at the more juicier one then, which is the new weekend. This is the 8th to the 10th, a weekend we're just at the end of now, at the time of recording. So technically these are the estimates, but they tend to be pretty close on a Sunday to what they end up being. So number 1 is obviously Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is the new big release of the week. Marvel Cinematic Universe, blah, 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 doing very well. Have you seen what that's made yet?
Yeah, enough.
You have. Do you think you would have guessed that high? But I'll tell you in a second what it was, specific to the audience. But you wouldn't have done. I probably wouldn't have done either. I think I was actually asked on a stream when I was playing games last week what I thought it was going to make, and I think I guessed I guessed about 90.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said. I'd have been sub 100 for sure in my guess. I'd have probably been in the 85 to 95 range.
Yeah, strong but not over 100. In fact, right now the estimate is 153 million.
Yeah,
which is very good. Very, very good. In fact, the worldwide figure is already at 455 million, which puts it at the 6th highest worldwide opening of all time.
That's insane. Like, I know it's getting a lot of buzz, and I'm seeing chatter about. I didn't realize it had quite that much going on for it.
I think it's the perfect concoction. I think you've got cultural significance because it's a female-led superhero film, which we've not had a lot of. We've had Wonder Woman, and that's basically it. And before anyone gets snarky and says and lists a few from like 15
we're
years
done
ago,
good ones.
Yes, right. And then you've got MCU, which is also proven box office like smashes. If anything, like Ant-Man 2 last year was like an exception to the average.
Yeah, no, I don't understand. I'm just like anecdotally, which is obviously all I really have to go on is without looking at the data, is I'm not seeing anyone at work talk about this. Every other Marvel movie, I'm seeing people are talking about it. This one, I'm not seeing much talk. I don't know. It feels quiet, which is why I'm surprised that it's as big as it is.
What would I tell you? I mean, it's doing well. It's doing better.
No, it is. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm surprised.
In fact, I mean, it's the 6th worldwide open of all time. I think the only superhero movie that's above it's Infinity War. Like in terms of the MCU, the only one that had a bigger opening.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. That's what's surprising me. That fact there, that it's that big, and I'm like, all right. When Infinity War opened, I bloody knew about it.
Oh sure.
No one at work. Shut up. I'm not talking. Obviously, when I'm on Facebook or Twitter, I'm in a bit of a bubble, right, where I'm seeing people into that sort of thing anyway, so I expect to see things related to that. When I'm at work, not necessarily. But I know, typically a lot of the Marvel movies end up being, the talk anyway. But this one hasn't been, so this is why I'm surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only mildly surprised. I wasn't expected to be that astronomically high, but I was expected to do very well. Like
I was expecting to do well, par for the course. But this is above
because I feel like
expectations.
I feel like the Marvel average is on a trend upwards. Where, like, I remember when I think it was the first Guardians maybe did about 70-something million, right? And that was a really solid opening at the time. And then that kept making money, and it got to like 700 million. Whereas now I would expect a new Guardians to probably crack 1 billion, right?
Yeah.
So Captain Marvel, like, it's almost halfway to 1 billion in 3 days, meaning that this will cross it unless this tanks drastically after the first weekend, which I don't think it will. It's going to cross 1 billion quite comfortably, and I'll say it's better than Aquaman, so it should outgross Aquaman.
I can't comment. I've not seen it.
Yeah, but you've seen Aquaman. You don't. How hardest or how difficult it is for it to fulfill that requirement.
Honestly, I mean, Aquaman for me, I think I gave it like a 6,
Yes.
right? That's where I feel with a lot of the last handful of Marvel movies. They're a 6. So to me personally, honestly, I could go either way, having not seen this yet.
Yeah. But it was better than Aquaman. I'm throwing it out there. No, that doesn't have its problems. In fact, me, Tim, and Matt just recorded a 90-minute review, which is up already. You can go check that out. Or if you're on the audio feed, or if you're on the Mail Fuzz Movies and TV audio feed, or the news audio feed, that is.
Yeah, pushed our stuff tonight back a bit, because he goes to me yesterday, goes, "Oh, don't worry, I won't be over an hour, that discussion."
It was 90 minutes.
No way we'll be over an hour.
Blame shitty people, because there was a whole section on the volatile backlash.
Do you know what? I'll allow it.
Yes. So that added a whole section to the review that otherwise wouldn't have been there for most movies. Go check out that review. Very extensive, the three of us talking about it. So that was Captain Marvel at number 1, 153 million. Number 2 was How to Train Your Dragon 3 with 14.6, which, let's have a look at that. What's that worldwide? That's at 435 million worldwide, so that's pretty strong, although notably less than what Captain Marvel's done in one weekend. But still very strong.
Most movies are less than what Captain Marvel does in one weekend.
I know, I'm just saying, it's had 3 full weeks.
I know, but come on, be fair to it.
Number 3 is Tyler Perry's A Medea Family Funeral with 12 million.
Oh, piss off.
That's at 46 million worldwide. Notably, the international take on that movie is only... It's
gotta be tiny.
Is only 235,000. This is how just US this franchise is. So yeah. There you go. Next up, Lego Movie 2 at number 4 with 3.8 million. 5 was Alita Battle Angel with 3.2. 6 was Green Book with 2.4. You can see all the money went to the number 1 this week. Like everything else.
Yeah, you can see that Alita challenge bullshit didn't work.
Isn't It Romantic 2.4. Number 8 was Fighting With My Family at 2.1. Number 9 was Greta with 2.1. And number 10 was Apollo 11, which is a documentary, I believe, with 1.3 million. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Happy enough days. So yeah, that's good. So we can move on from box office then. Aside from the fact that we need to guess for next week, I suppose. So let's get the...
Is there anything aside from just Captain Marvel?
Week 2 for Captain
Marvel?
Yeah,
no. Is there anything aside from that?
I'm about to tell you, aren't I?
I have no idea.
So next week, which is the 15th, Friday the 15th, right? Confirm that's the next week box office.
I can probably confirm that.
Yes.
I can confirm that.
Right. Well, we do have a Captive State.
I vaguely remember this one.
Yes.
But I'm forgetting what it actually is. Remind me.
Aliens have taken over.
That one.
I think John Goodman's in it, if I remember right.
Yeah.
So that's coming from Focus Features. There's a couple of other things. There's an animated film from Paramount called Wonder Park. I don't even know what that is, but we'll guess Captive State and Captain Marvel week 2. I think that's a good idea. So what do you guys have for Captain Marvel?
I'm thinking. I'll come back to you on that one. I'll do Captive State.
Go Captain State, yes.
Slip of the tongue. I'll give you a 12.5 on that one.
I'm going to 11.
Might be ambitious. Yeah. Don't do this dick move shit again. It's boring. just go for it. It's not about the points. It's about being outlandish.
I can be outlandish and get points. Thank you very much.
Well, that 11 was not outlandish.
Maybe I just thought it was in the same sort of ballpark.
No, you didn't. If you thought it was in the same sort of ballpark, you'd gone for like 9, not 11. You would have gone 1 down. You'd have gone a little bit down. You'd have made it interesting, where it could split the difference.
Stop stalling and give your figure for Captain Marvel. You cretin.
No, because you're gonna just do this shit either way. So you can go first.
All right.
Because I can be trusted not to do that.
90. It's got legs.
92.
You're saying 92? Oh, you could be trusting not to
No,
do that, you
I'm
say.
not. No, I'm just. What do I actually think? I agree on the general area.
I bet you do.
No, not like dead on that. I agree on the general area being, like 80 to 110. I agree within that range. I'm just, do I want the high end or the lower end? 98.
98. I'll take those points. I'm pretty sure I just won that.
You probably did.
Because I think I was on the high end. I was being kind of optimistic, thinking, I won't have the usual drop. It'll do better than normal.
Yeah, but we said that about some other stuff, and then it surprises us.
That's true. That's true. Okay, there you go. That's box office guesses for next week, which will lead us on to the news. If I get that up here we go. Oh, there you go. All over Connor's face.
I guess we got a nice little preview of a story there. Probably the first one.
That's the first one indeed. Comic book movie news starting off. A bunch of Suicide Squad 2 stuff. So Will Smith's officially not in it, as is Joel Kinnaman, at least at the current time. Joel Kinnaman has no plans to be in it. So some casting changes happening, some characters being dropped out. Although for some reason they're still determined to have Deadshot. Even though it's like, well, you can just swap in all the characters. You don't need to have Deadshot. But apparently they're in talks with Idris Elba to replace Will Smith.
Yeah, I think it's pretty universally agreed that Will Smith's Deadshot was one of the best elements of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't surprise me that they want to retain that. If they can't get Will Smith, I believe it's a scheduling thing as well. They can't get him, rather than he just doesn't want to do it. It makes sense to me that they want to keep the character to at least try and get some recognition for that going. It's the same with why we expect Harley, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even though that's there's no confirmation on her, but
no, she's expected, but there's nothing official.
Yeah.
And then the other thing from Suicide Squad 2 this week is there is apparently a script reportedly handed in February has 4 characters, new characters attached to it. So here's the 4 characters. This is per Collider. So Ratcatcher is apparently one of the characters in it. In the comic books, Ratcatcher is Otis Flanagan, a sewer-dwelling former exterminator who uses his ability to communicate with rats to commit crimes. They're reporting that the Suicide Squad 2 version will be largely the same, but will be portrayed as a younger woman who has a penchant for poisons.
That's fine, but you lose the comedy factor of being called Otis.
Yes. So,
Otis the Ratcatcher.
Is it funnier if she's still called Otis though?
It is funnier.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's just true. It's just
what's the lady version of Otis?
Otis? I don't know.
This one's a bit more notable. King Shark.
Hell yeah.
Comic books and reportedly on film, King Shark is the son of the shark god, who is viewed as a genetic monster in society. King Shark previously appeared in several episodes of CW's Flash TV show. Yeah, we know that. King Shark's a solid addition.
It is, and I hope it has his best line of dialogue ever, which is as he is charging into battle, "I'm an effing shark."
I wouldn't surprise me if he's replacing Croc, if Croc's not going to be in there.
Yeah. You fishy one.
Yeah. Next up, Polka Dot Man, minor Batman villain in the comics, who also went by Mr. Polka Dot, who has a costume covered in multicolored polka dots, which can be removed to turn into a variety of weapons. The Suicide Squad 2 version's powers reportedly caused polka dots to appear all over his body, leading to his embarrassment and his own abilities.
Ugh, didn't need that bit. Embrace the polka dots.
Finally, Peacemaker. Originally a Charlton Comics character, Peacemaker is Christopher Smith, a pacifist extremist. Wait, what? A pacifist extremist?
I assume that means he's extremely extreme in being a pacifist.
Okay.
That he will go to, very serious lengths not to be violent.
Okay, with the twisted belief that his own vigilante violence
Or not.
Will lead to world peace. That was perfect. That was perfect.
It was.
You try to bullshit away into an explanation, and I immediately debunk it.
I tried to make sense of it.
He
Because it didn't make sense any other way. This doesn't make any sense to me.
He's reportedly mostly unchanged for the film, with Guardians of the Galaxy Drax actor Dave Bautista apparently leading the pack to take the role. What a surprise! James Gunn might hire Bautista. I wonder if this guy is going to be basically just not Drax.
Yeah, I can see it.
So yeah, Peacemaker was the main inspiration for Watchmen's comedian.
Okay.
Bit of trivia for you. So there you go. That's Suicide Squad 2 stuff. We have a little bit on Black Adam's. I thought this was dead, to be honest.
It's not dead?
Apparently, there's the latest draft of the script. I mean, whether this actually leads to anything is another question, but the latest draft of the script features Hawkman, Stargirl, and Atom Smasher.
No, it doesn't.
No, I believe the script with those names in it. I don't believe we're going to see.
I believe there's a fan fiction with those names in it.
I don't believe we're going to actually get a Black Adam movie, but I believe there's a script with those names in it.
Okay. I'm not sure I even believe that.
Okay, that's fine. So that's Black Adam. Next up, Marvel is prepping some actors for Black Widow. So Black Widow, we've got a writer now. Now we're looking at casting. So there's going to be a co-lead who's been described as a kick-ass female James Bond, which requires an actress similar to Black Widow.
Because isn't that just Black Widow?
Well, here's my thing. Originally, this was going to be an older. They were going to look for someone a bit older, but now the actors are looking at her a bit younger. I'm thinking that this could be someone who can take the torch. Like,
okay,
I think if Johansson wants to leave after another like Avengers movie or something, there's someone to pass it on to who's like the new young Black Widow. I think that's what they're going to go for here.
All right,
that'd be my guess. Unfortunately, Emma Watson is the front runner.
I'm in.
She's awful. I can't get behind this at all.
Suddenly I'm more excited.
Also, we got Beautiful Creatures actress Alice Englert, Hostages actress Dar Zuzovsky, and Little Women actress Florence Pugh. I know Florence Pugh. I know who she is.
Yeah, I know Florence Pugh.
So
don't know the rest.
So we got that for the lead role. There's also the co-lead. Obviously, the lead role's Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. But we also have some other cast members being mentioned for being up for roles. According to the hashtag show, we have Andrea Holland, who was the lead character in Castle Rock, if you remember him. He's in Moonlight as well. He's in talks to play the villain of the film. And then we also have a pair of older actors reportedly portraying an American couple with ties to the villain himself. And apparently Alec Baldwin and Rachel Weisz are in talks for those roles. So this Black Widow movie is seeming like it's a done deal now for Phase 4. Like we're at the point where we're casting, which if you're a Marvel movie means that it's looking pretty likely.
Yes, yeah.
If you're a DC
when they tell me they've got a script with characters in it, I believe them.
Well, to be fair, DC didn't tell us that. This was like someone had.
Okay, fine, but when there's a leak of that, I still believe it.
Sure. Sure. Here's a Marvel movie no one cares about, though. Morbius from Sony.
Do you know what? I was going to go, is it Blade? For whatever reason. I don't even know if we're getting
it's a vampire.
But yeah, that's why it was weird.
So yeah, this is the Daniel Espinosa directed spin-off Morbius, even though it's not really spinning off of any actual Spider-Man, kind of like Venom. Jared Leto's in it. Well, apparently Jared Harris has been in talks to join the film in an unspecified role.
You have to have a good Jared to balance out a bad Jared.
Yes.
Just, laws of nature, I guess.
I guess this will be the Jared film. Just call it Jared Squared and just be done with it, I suppose. That is the wrap up of the comic book section. So on to other things. Spielberg caused a bit of controversy. Or he's
chatting some shit.
He's in the process of causing controversy. I don't know if the actual presentation where he's going to go and speak to the Academy has happened yet, but so Spielberg is going to propose changes to the Oscar eligibility rules, arguing that films that debut on streaming services or just get a short theatrical run should not qualify and should therefore go to the Emmys instead of the Oscars. Like, this is old man yelling at cloud, and I'm happy to say that a lot of people kind of spoke, like people in the industry, I mean, were kind of like speaking out against this and saying, even Bruce Campbell, the legend that is, was saying, nah, like Roma is more deserving of being on that Oscars list this year than anything else. So,
I think that some people raise the idea, the campaign spending of how much Roma's it easily outspent everything else there. And, there's, okay, maybe you should be putting restrictions on that instead.
Oh, sure. If anything, there should be no campaigning at all from anything. Why do they have to campaign? That they're movies that are getting awards for being movies. There should be no campaigning.
Yes, but that's not how life works.
Why is campaign? It's stupid. It's a political it's like a political race. It doesn't have to be a race. No one has to convince you of anything. The Academy should be just seeing the movies because they have to make these choices. Comparing for movies to win Oscars is the most stupid thing in the world. It's a giant waste of goddamn money.
I mean, well, Netflix didn't win their Oscar for Best Picture, did they? So, yeah, I guess it is a bit of a waste.
Even if they'd won it, it'd been a waste of money.
They wouldn't have thought that.
It's a waste of money across the board. None of them should be spending money in this. That's money they could be, I don't know, paying fair wages to their lighting riggers.
Are you implying that they don't?
They might not. I don't know.
Yeah. See, that felt like a pretty serious accusation there.
Hey, every 5 years the writers have to go on strike. Forgive me for assuming the studios are dicks about this. That's
fair, but you don't know that Netflix are just as much as dicks. I mean, they probably are. They're a studio now.
I was including them in the whole thing. I wasn't excluding them from that.
Okay. I
was saying they're all wasting money.
No, all right.
Anyway, yeah, this is stupid. Platforms are relevant. A movie's a movie. Like, the times are changing. The theatrical setting is not as special, as important as some of these older directors would like to think. It's just the way things are.
I can understand to a point of it's the slippery slope, right? Is, well, do we start counting HBO movies if they look good enough? And then are you judging? Yes. It's like, well, we think this looks good enough, so it counts. Is that all it is?
Yes, no question. Every movie, every TV movie should be eligible. I don't know why they're not. A movie's a goddamn movie. Like, you have movies, you have serialized or episodic content, right? Those are your formats for visual medium. I mean, you have short films too, but again, have their own category because they're short films. They're different. But that's your distinctions. Where it premieres, as far as I'm concerned, means like nothing. It means nothing.
That's fair enough.
If the quality's there,
and I know you think that, but for a lot of people, there is a distinction between a TV movie and a movie, right? In the sense of not just in where it premieres, but in the quality and the budget for a lot of it. Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If the quality is there, then it shouldn't matter. It doesn't.
Yes, but I guess the question is, okay, you have to then choose. Okay, this one's worthy, but this one isn't. Right? Of being counted as a movie versus a TV movie.
No, you don't have to worry about what counts as a movie. This is the beautiful thing. The whole point of what's getting nominated is that it's the 10 best anyway. If it's good enough to be in the 10 best, it's good enough to be in the 10 best. You don't have to distinguish it because you don't have to. There shouldn't be an instance where you go, that's good enough to win, but it doesn't count because it's not a movie.
Okay, no. But the problem, the problem's less on that end, but more so from HBO. Right, HBO's made a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Do they submit it to the Emmys? Or do they submit it to the Academy? Right? Do they have to make that choice? Because the Academy won't accept it if they've submitted it to the Emmys. And the Emmys are like, if they've gone to the Academy, it's like, hey, no, this is a problem. We're not going to have this.
Yeah, they make the choice. That's on them.
I mean, that's what Netflix have been. They don't submit any of their movies to the Emmys at all. Because they don't want to risk. Because obviously they'd sweep, right? With some of them.
Oh yeah, Roma with a crushed.
Exactly right. Even some of the lower quality Netflix movies, not the shite, but the lower quality ones, not the Romas, but they're still okay. It's all right. Is still above what a lot of the TV movies submitted to the Emmys are. Primarily because Netflix still gives them a budget of that's pretty reasonable.
I'm going to say something even more controversial. TV movies should not be at the Emmys.
Okay.
That's how you solve this. They shouldn't even be at the Emmys at all. Everything should be at the Oscars because of the goddamn movies. The end. You're adding these weird hurdles to this, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. This is just adding. Every single hurdle you have mentioned is just made up bullshit that they've put in place, and I'm like, well, take this away.
I don't disagree with you. I just want to make it clear. I'm not adding these hurdles. These aren't hypotheticals I'm throwing out there. These are the questions that the industry is talking about right now.
You are adding hurdles. Those ginger hairs been left behind all these hurdles. There's evidence. I'm taking out a DNA scanner and I'm finding traces of ginger.
There is more than one of us.
Unfortunately. Anyway,
we are legion.
So Spielberg, I love you, dude, but shut up. Shut up. Roma is.
Spend some time remembering how to make good movies.
If I compared Roma to like his film from last year, The Post, like the quality difference is off the charts. I'm sorry, Spieley, but no. This just feels elitist to me. It feels like an old man who's like, no. We have an exclusive club, and they're not allowed in because they're not proper films. That's what it feels like to me. So,
yeah.
so
I don't disagree.
Next up, Sherlock Holmes 3, which I'm sure you're excited for. Waiting for with Brady.
But in Downey Jr.
As in Downey Jr. and Jude Law, yes. Has been pushed a year. It was meant to come out at the end of 2020, and now it's coming out December 22nd, 2021.
I'll be honest, I didn't realise it was coming out at all.
Do you know what's notable about this, though? In fact, the only reason why I bothered putting this into the news, that's 10 years exactly. Well, maybe not to the day, but it's 10 years to the month since the second one came out.
Since the second one?
Yeah.
Jeez, I thought you were going to say since the first one.
No, the second one came out in 2011.
Wasn't that long ago?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
That's why it's so surprising hearing news of the third one. It's like, well, I mean, people are clearly dying for it because you're rushing it through so quickly.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of the first two.
I like the first one. Did not like the second one as much.
I didn't even want to see the second one, but I got dragged to it against my.
I fell asleep in the second one.
Yeah.
In the cinema. It's one of the only movies I've ever done that with.
I wasn't feeling it. I have no interest in seeing this, so I'm not really that fussed. But I thought it was notable that it's been 10 years, which first of all makes me feel. I mean, obviously it's not been 10 years yet, but it's making me feel old that that movie came out in 2011. We're going to be talking about 10 years since.
Hey, it's got to be like 10 years since the first one, then.
Oh, it is, yeah. Hey, no, I was seeing things that like this just recently. It's 20 years since The Matrix. It's 20 years since Cruel Intentions. It's like everything that came out in '99 is making me feel old.
I love that those are the first two films from '99 that you go. Like, they're such polar opposite movies.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. Of course, Cruel Intentions stars Sarah Michelle Gellar, who was in the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I knew there was a reason.
Which actually turned
it's not.
Turned 22 years old this very day of recording. It did.
No, it didn't.
What do you mean?
No. It just didn't happen.
Premiered 22 years ago today. That's notable. It's Buffy Day. I should have made a Buffy overlay and had Buffy themed things all over the screen.
Unacceptable.
Next up, Dev Patel is in talks to star in A24's Green Knight. I don't know if you remember this one. This is the Ghost Story director David Lowery's doing this new adaptation, this retelling of the medieval tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Yes, I do remember.
So Dev Patel's in talks to star, so that's the thing.
Cool.
Next up, we have Carrie Coon and Finn Wolfhard. What a duo. So Carrie Coon, of course, Leftovers, some Fargo, a bunch of other stuff.
Infinity War.
Yeah, but you don't.
Hey, I'm saying if you want to go for a movie reference, because this is the movie news, and it's
Yeah, but you can't recognize her in that. She's covered in makeup and CG.
Not the point. She's still there.
Finn,
diminishing her work.
Finn Wolfhard, of course, is from Stranger Things. So they're in talks to play a mother and son duo in the next Ghostbusters movie, which apparently is going to center on a single mum and her family. Not much else is known at this time. Whether or not there'll be an original cast in it, but we do know it's set in the continuity of the original films. this is a very interesting thing to discover, honestly, that the new Ghostbusters movie, which is set in the original continuity, is focused on a single mother, which leads me to believe, like, is it the kids who are going to be the Ghostbusters? Which is funny because Stranger Things Season 2 had them dressed up as a Ghostbuster at one point.
Yeah, see, this is... I'm not immediately in on this. I'm like, okay, it's becoming... Oh, are we doing a family thing rather than the team?
I don't know. That's the thing. That is why I'm so curious about it. I'm like, what is this? Like, what is the premise of this movie? Is the idea that like the father who's not there was like one of the Ghostbusters, so it's like the Ghostbusters kids, or is it? I don't know. And I mean, maybe it'll be. I mean, even if it is the kids, like, you know, I saw it. You know, Finn Wolfhard was in that. He was swearing constantly. He was, you know, being witty as shit. Like, you know, he can do that.
No. It's not that they can't do that.
Yeah.
It's that if that is what it is, I'm like, okay, you want to cash in on Stranger Things.
It's Stranger Things and Ghostbusters combined.
Yeah, but do you not feel that a little bit? Like, okay, if that's what you're doing, it's okay, it's another Stranger Things knock on.
That's a bit of a leap, though. Like, I mean, I have no idea if it is the kids. I just joked that because it's Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah. I said kid. If.
Yeah. Maybe Carrie Coon's a Ghostbuster, or maybe they're just. It says center on though. I don't know. We need more information on this, but it's definitely curious that this is the central characters.
It's not what we expected as the first bit of news for it, though.
No, I expected a team of, say, 4.
Yes, yeah.
Of varying shapes, sizes, and all sorts. Alright, next up. Brian K. Vaughan, comic book writer, esteemed comic book writer, is signed on to write the screenplay for Gundam, the first live-action film based on the popular mecha anime and science fiction media franchise created by Sunrise. It's coming from Legendary Entertainment.
Yeah, Gundam fan, Pete.
Do I look like I've ever seen a Gundam thing in my life? I didn't realise Gundam was a specific thing. I thought Gundam was just like a genre of thing.
No, I mean, it's kind of become that. Like, you know, It's become a way of... It is technically it's a franchise, right? But you know, to call something, oh, it's Gundam-esque. You know, it's kind of like just saying, it's the mech suits.
Okay. Yeah, the 40th anniversary of the original show from 1979 is actually this year. Yeah, so yeah, apparently, yeah, it changed the game because there was already mech things in like Japanese like fiction, but it tended oddly, I didn't even know this, but apparently. Like before there were magical devices with celebrity pilots who piloted them via remote control or command, not unlike Gigantor or the Iron Giant. Iron Giant wasn't controlled. He was
a sentient being.
He was sentient. Yeah, that's incorrect. I'm not buying this deadline. But anyway, but no, apparently this was like no, we're going to treat it like they're like it's got a crew inside it operating it like a ship, like. Kind of thing.
I didn't realize they started that off, but it makes sense. It makes sense to why, you know, the genre often gets referred to as Gundam.
Yeah, definitely sounds better than this magical shit that apparently was there before.
It's just the question is, how anime is it?
That's the thing. I feel like most concepts from anime, though, even though I don't like anime, could make good live action movies. Because I really like the Pacific Rim.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Those are anime as shit, really. Where but just made live action. So yeah, maybe you'll enjoy this one.
Maybe. Well, I like
you're not getting any more Pacific Rim, so you might hope for the best.
The anime on Netflix might take off and lead to a third movie.
That's true. Netflix going to carry that torch.
Next up, Warner Bros. Has acquired the worldwide distribution rights to Reminiscence, which is a Lisa Joy directed thriller. Lisa Joy, if you recognise that name but can't quite place it, is the co-showrunner of Westworld and has written and directed much of that. This is her film directorial debut, and she wrote a script as well. So that's probably enough of a reason to be curious. Reminiscence follows one man's journey to find the woman he loves after her mysterious disappearance. Hugh Jackman stars as Nicholas Bannister, a rugged and solitary veteran living in the near future Miami, flooded by rising seas. So it's in the future, so it's a bit of a sci-fi as well. Bannister is an expert in a dangerous occupation. He offers clients a chance to relive any memory they desire. His life changes when he meets May, played by Rebecca Ferguson. What begins as a simple matter of a lost and found becomes a passionate love affair. But when a different client's memories implicate May in a series of violent crimes, Bannister must delve through the dark world of the past to uncover the truth about the woman he fell for. An epic story that travels the intimate and infinite world of memory. Reminiscence asks, how far would you go to hold on to the one you love? So this sounds like it's going to be very Eternal Sunshine to me. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of it's going to be inside the memories once it gets going.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was a little overly convoluted for a logline description.
Yeah.
I get what the movie is, no wrong, but a bit too much just for that basic description. But I mean, sounds like it could be interesting. You know, a couple of good actors in there. At least I couldn't tell you which episodes of Westworld she directed, but obviously, like you say, co-showrunner. So I mean,
some of the important ones. I'm willing
I would have assumed so. Yeah. So yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, no, I like the premise. I mean, it took a while to explain what the premise was in that description, but once I got that it was getting into memories, and I'm like, okay, it's in this near future. We've got this technology, and it's going to sort of build the relationship with these memories and be about investigating that. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This is a fairly fresh concept. I'm sure it's been done at some capacity before, but I am intrigued. So that's Reminiscence. Probably the best title for it as well, actually. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's a good title.
Next up, King Richard is a script that's going around right now with Will Smith attached to it. The script's by Zach Balin, and Smith's poised to play Richard Williams, the father of Venus and Serena Williams. Despite having no tennis background, he overcame tremendous hardship, skepticism, and his own troubled past to raise two of the game's greatest players. When his daughters were around the age of 4, Richard Williams drew up a 78-page plan for their professional tennis careers. That's really funny to me that someone who's never played or has a tennis experience sat down and like mapped this out. He's like, no, I'm going to train them.
And it worked.
And it worked, yeah. They're two of the best players on the planet.
I believe someone did that. I'm surprised it worked.
Yes. He began giving them tennis lessons, and the girls learned the game on cracked, weedy public courts in Compton, reportedly after their father brawled with the young toughs who were not fans of the sport and would not make way. I can almost see this scene in my head now. Will Smith get up and like beating up youths. Like, get off his tennis court. I've got tennis to teach. The Williams sisters went on to become two of the greatest female players in tennis history, with Serena arguably the best ever with 23 Grand Slam tournament wins. Venus has 7 Grand Slam titles.
It's got to feel a bit shit, innit?
Sorry?
Got to feel a bit shit to be outdone by your sister by that amount.
Maybe she just... did she start playing maybe at some point?
I don't know. I don't follow tennis.
I don't follow tennis. I'm just wondering, maybe like after the 7, she's like, you know what, because maybe at the time they both had a similar number, and she's like, you know what, I'm ready to throw it in. And then Serena's like, I'm going to just keep going for another 15 years and just win another.
I know. I still see Serena every so often, right? I don't think I see Venus very much. I don't follow it, but Wimbledon's on every year in the summer. It's like, I'll flick. I guess it's on, and she's always there.
The sisters began to assert themselves. Serena won her first US Open in 1999, and then 2000. Oh, she won in 2000, Wimbledon title, and then Venus won Wimbledon 2000. Sorry. After that victory, Richard shouted straight out of Compton in reference to the NWA song. And then jumped over the NBC broadcasting booth, catching Chris Everett by surprise and performing a triumphant dance. Everett said that the broadcasters thought the roof was coming down. So he seems like he's a bit of a character, very confident, but it did work, so I can't necessarily fault him.
I'm a little frustrated that there's a controversy to this casting, because I can see Will Smith doing this perfectly, sure. Right? You can see him doing the kooky, all the stuff, right? Yeah, there's a bit of controversy. Yeah, there's some people not happy that that he's not a dark enough skin color to be based on a real person, right? Who is darker than that, and they're like, making it. There's accusations it's making it more palatable for audiences. Which I get, I can see that, but at the same time, like I said, you described all that stuff there. and I can see Will Smith in all of those moments.
Yeah, I don't think that's a debate for us to have, so I'm
No,
not going to
no.
do it. But yeah. But hey, so that's the premise. He sounds. I mean, I will say, like, I feel like, given that we're talking about two of the greatest tennis players in the world, I do wonder if there's kind of a weird thing here where you're deciding to focus the movie on their father instead. Yeah, it's not about them, it's about the man behind it. Like, you know, there's almost like a focus problem here, whereas like, no, we're going to focus on them. And if it ends up being more of an equal thing where it's just as much about them as it is about him, right? Because it's one thing if he's a part of their story. It feels weird to me, though, to say, no. These two extraordinary athletes who are, like, world-renowned, but we're going to focus on him.
I think
Now, don't
as
get
a
me
way
wrong.
to defend it.
Now, don't get me wrong. Given what I've read, I didn't know about this before. This is all I know about was what I just read in those two paragraphs. From that, he does sound like he's an interesting character. I'll give it that.
Right. And okay, here's the way I would defend it if I was going to, is that I already know these tennis players, right? Pretty much everyone, right, knows who they are. I could not have told you a single thing about this guy.
I can't name you any other tennis players. I can name you those two, though.
You can't name me any other tennis players.
No.
The Scottish one who's just retired.
No idea.
I
can give you. I mean, I can give you. McEnroe. He was a tennis player, right? You get angry.
Yeah.
So
Tim Henman.
Who? No, I don't know who that is.
Fucking heathen.
I'm sorry. I remember Anna Kournikova from my youth because she was quite attractive. That was why I knew her.
Sounds about right.
I have no idea what she was like playing tennis, but she was attractive. That's all I've got for you. But hey, so yeah, that's King Richard. I'll be honest, I would not have expected to come out of a story about, you know, the man who raised the Williams sisters and go, that sounds interesting, but this genuinely actually sounds quite interesting. Because he sounds enough of a character. But
I think, you know what, I think that's the most important thing as to why I'm okay with it centered on him. This sounds like a fun movie. It sounds different, right?
Yeah.
Where you focus on them, it's okay, it's a standard biopic, right? And that there would be nothing in that would get me excited. It's not to say it would be a bad movie, but I'd be like, yeah, okay, it's a biopic. Whereas this here, I'm like, okay, I want to see that.
Okay. We'll move on then. Paramount Pictures won bidding rights for Assisted Living, a script by Kei Uyegun. Sony, Endeavour, and Netflix were all in the mix bidding as well. So sources say it's a high concept comedy. It's Sister Act meets Mrs. Doubtfire, where a thief on the run from her old crew holes up in a retirement home. I'm not gonna lie, it's not a bad premise.
It's not.
It's not a bad premise. Although if they cast Melissa McCarthy, I'm out. Like that's it. It's just dead in the water.
Yeah, that's how you kill enthusiasm, isn't it?
But if you put like Emma Stone in this or something like that, all of a sudden I'm in.
Yeah.
So that's Assisted Living.
It frustrates me that I now suspect them casting Melissa McCarthy in this.
I feel like there's a 50-50 chance. There's so many there's so many actresses in Hollywood they could pick, but I think it's 50-50 it'll be Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, it's 50 Melissa McCarthy versus everyone else.
Then next up, Golden Globe winner Tajira P. Henson and Ed Helms are in talks for a comedy as well. It's called Coffee and Kareem. Is this for Netflix? Yeah, it's Netflix, yeah. So it's for Netflix. It's a plot that follows a Detroit cop who reluctantly teams up with his girlfriend's 11-year-old son to clear his name and take down the city's most ruthless criminal. That sounds like
a Netflix movie to me.
It sounds like a Cop and a Half to me. I don't know if you ever saw the Burt Reynolds and.
I did not.
I mean, I saw it as a kid. I can't really vouch for it being good or bad at this point. It was probably not good, but this reminds me of that in some way. I love how he says reluctantly teams up with his girlfriend's 11-year-old son. Like, what is she making him team? Like, is she wanting her son to go and like get involved in actually taking down criminals?
I don't know.
I want the receipts for this one. I want to see how this is setting up. Anyway, next up, Annapurna and Plan B have optioned Alex Michaelides, I think I'm saying that right, debut novel The Silent Patient to develop as a feature film. The silent picture centers on Alicia Brennanson, a famous painter married to an in-demand fashion photographer who lives in a grand house in one of London's most desirable areas. One evening, her husband Gabriel returns home late from a fashion shoot, and Alicia shoots him 5 times in the face. I like how it specifies face. 5 times in the face. Shooting. And then never speaks another word. Alicia's refusal to talk or give any kind of explanation casts her into notoriety, and the price of her art skyrockets. And the silent patient resides in the Grove, a secure forensic unit in North London. A criminal psychotherapist, Theo Faber, is determined to unravel Alicia's mystery as to why she shot her husband. So,
it sounds like a pretty standard thriller.
A little bit. I mean, I like the idea of her being silent completely, because it's the sort of thing that The Sinner was trying to do, that TV show, and it felt like it wasn't. She didn't stick to it enough. Whereas I'm like, no, be completely silent and not say anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I guess I like the book though, because they're getting straight into this.
Sure.
Alright, that'll take us out of the horror section though. So, first thing in the horror section, we have Vertical Entertainment has acquired Dominique Swain and Michael Welch fronted film Bloodcraft, which is set to release in April. So, they're going to distribute this in April. The film was previously known as Together. It follows 2 sisters who suffer abuse as children at the hands of their sadistic father. Years later, after his death, they decide to use witchcraft to bring his spirit back to get revenge.
It got more interesting.
I will say I do like the idea of a revenge story where the victims, or not the victim, that's not the right word, but the target is already deceased.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it'll probably suck. I don't know. To me, that could be good, but it's got all the markings to me of just one of these.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect it to, but it definitely got more interesting at the end of that description. It sounded really generic and just whatever up until that point.
Next up, Stephen Lang, who was in Avatar. You might know him from that. Some other stuff as well, but he is going to be in a horror action film called VFW, which is an action horror film with Brawlin' Cellbot 99 producer Dallas Sonnier and Amanda Prismic producing it for Fangoria. Yeah, Fangoria's making movies now. It's weird. Like I guess the magazine's not profitable enough anymore. They're doing movies. So Joe Begos will direct it from a script by Max Brillier and Matthew McArdle. The film is described as a Wild Bunch meets Night of the Living Dead. What? It's okay. You got me listening. It follows Fred and his military buddies as they must defend their local VFW post and an innocent teen against a deranged drug dealer and his relentless army. So you're like, drug dealer? What? Drug dealer? And his relentless army of punk mutants.
I'm back in.
Yeah. These Vietnam vets have been to hell and back, but this will be the longest night of their lives. There's potential in this. This is a sort of B movie I might love.
Yeah.
If it has the right...
If it's done well.
If it's got the right amount of violence, the right tone, just likeable enough character. At least Stephen Lang. He can be likeable.
Don't take it too seriously.
You can take it seriously. I think there's an art form to it. You can take something like this seriously, but you have to be good at taking it seriously. You have to really go for it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because one of the producers is from Cell Block 99. That took itself very seriously, and that worked really well. It's not the same director though, so I mean,
Yeah.
But hey, and finally this week on the news, last thing here, it's worth mentioning at no point in this article did they ever use the word horror, but when I was on Bloody Disgusting looking for other horror stories, they called it a horror movie.
So you're just taking their word for it?
But it also, I mean, it has Eli Roth involved, so I mean...
probably then.
So
it's also probably shite, so...
Miramax has acquired the rights to Erica Ferenc's novel The River at Night. The project is being shaped by Kevin Williamson and Eli Roth. Roth is eyeing it as a potential directing project. So... what's with the long descriptions this week? This is another big paragraph.
Stifled, I have to listen to all this.
Yes. Stifled by a soul-crushing job, devastated by the death of her beloved brother, and lonely after the end of a 15-year marriage, Winnie, feeling vulnerable... Winnie is feeling vulnerable. End of sentence. So when her 3 best friends insist on a high-octane getaway for their annual girls' trip, she signs on, despite her misgivings. What starts out as an invigorating hiking and rafting exercise in the remote Allagash wilderness soon becomes an all-too-real nightmare. A freak accident leaves the women stranded, separating them from their raft and everything they need to survive. When night descends, a fire on the mountainside lures them to a ramshackle camp that appears to be their lifeline. But as Winnie and her friends grasp the true intent of their supposed saviors, a long-buried secrets emerge and lifelong allegiances are put to the test. To survive, Winnie must reach beyond the world she knows to harness her inner strength she never knew she possessed. Yeah, there was a bit of fluff in that at the end there, but
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of zoned out a bit.
I actually think this sounds like a horror. Once it got to the idea that there's like a camp and these people might not be trustworthy, I'm like, okay, this is a horror movie. Like,
yeah,
you know. So Eli Roth, of course, means my interest in it is plummeted to, like, you know, if we're bringing back the "Does it move your needle" segment, that, you know, this went from a 5 to Eli Roth's name being mentioned to, oh, it's at like a 1.
Oh, okay. That's more positive. I thought you were going to tell me it broke the scale and it went into the negatives somehow.
I treat this segment seriously. I'm not going to belittle it by implying there's anything beyond a 1. Although debatable, there should be a 0, but in the interest, I mean, you know. I'm not going to give it a 0.
Yeah, I was assuming that was a 0.
I won't give it a 0 because I feel like a 0... I mean, what has a 0 on the hype scale? Like...
I think you have to care about not caring about it.
Yes.
For it to be a 0, right?
Yeah, it has to be like, oh, there's a new Batman movie, but Rob Zombie's directing it. That's a 0 because like, I passionately hate the fact that it exists.
Yeah, exactly. You have to care that it's shit.
There you go. That's logic. And that was the last news story, though. So, here we are at the end of the show, where I can tell you what reviews are coming up and what's happened recently and whatnot. So, obviously, I mentioned Captain Marvel at the start because it was important enough and we're talking about it anyway. But 90-minute review of that went up. You can check it out. It was me, Matt, and Tim. We had a delightful chat about the film. So that's in terms of new movies, that's what's out. But obviously me and Connor are working through a lot of Batman movies for Batman month because it's the 80th birthday of Batman and it's also Detective Comics 1000 later this month. So the first 2 Batman movies, that's Batman and Batman Returns, are already up for everyone by the time this goes up. And in fact, this is going up the same day as Batman Forever will be for everyone. And then patrons, of course, who get the Influx episodes a week early have already got the next couple. So...
well, we need to get cracking.
We do have to get cracking. But hey, so look out for those Batman movies over the course of the month. We also had a review for Assassination Nation go up just last week as well, so you can check out that too. And of course, our top 10 movies of 2018 went up, so you can go check out that. So
yeah,
that's typically the movie content that's been going up recently, so you can check out.
Yeah. There'll be plans probably. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure there are some.
Yeah. Obviously, I need to mention Patreon, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. I mentioned that obviously patrons get the Influx episodes early. One of the things they're actually getting new starting this month is a bonus episode of Screams After Midnight once per month. So the first one from me and Tim that's exclusive to patrons at the $1 tier will be later this month. So you can look forward to that as well over there. But obviously, I mean, the reason you go there is to support us and you know, and keep the lights on, keep the podcast coming, all that kind of thing. But you can support us in other ways, such as liking, subscribing, commenting in the comments down below, all that sort of stuff. Guys on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. But otherwise, that is us. Alright, so thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys, and you can't always get it, but it is nice if you can get a hold of some diplomatic immunity.